Today you're going to learn 7 ways to reignite your marriage. Welcome to the Dr. Wyatt Show. I'm your host, Dr. Wyatt Fisher, a licensed psychologist specializing in couples counseling. Be sure to follow me on social at Dr. Wyatt Fisher. So why are we talking about this? Why is this such an important topic? Why do we even have to have a whole episode on reigniting your marriage? The reason is because a lot of marriages fall out of love. A lot of marriages, the fire goes out. Why is that? It's because after you're married for a while, the attention goes outward on kids, mortgage, finances, chores, you name it. And without realizing it, most couples stop focusing on their partner. And then needs aren't met. And then resentment sets in. And then before long, the fire starts to go out. However, just like a fire in real life, if the fire goes out, you can rebuild that fire. Think about what you do when a real fire goes out. You start blowing on it. Put in some starter logs, you put in some kindling, and what happens? You bring the fire back. It starts to get stronger, it starts to grow. Your marriage is like a fire. Don't panic if the fire has gone out. You can rebuild that fire. And that's what I do with couples all the time. I help them rebuild their fire. So let's get into the ways to do this. So number 1, to reignite your marriage is you have to clear your resentments. You're imperfect. Your partner's imperfect. You rub shoulders day in and day out, so resentments are inevitable. However, couples struggle with how do we work through them. That's why I have developed a skill, a tool called the Reunite tool. Google it, Reunite tool. You'll see it at the top. Download it, memorize it, master it. If you and your partner can't use the Reunite tool on your own constructively, then work with one of my coaches. That's why I have trained a team of coaches to work with you to help you through your resentments. So if you feel like you could benefit from some professional support to work through your resentments, be sure to click the link in the description, because nothing else is going to go well when you have resentments. It's hard to feel close with your partner, hard to have sex with your partner, hard to feel like friends with your partner when there's resentments. Love is like water, and resentments are a clog in the pipe. Just like your toilet. If you have a clog in your pipe in the toilet, then water's not going to flow. You have to get rid of that clog in your pipe before the water can flow. And that clog is your resentments. Address them. Work through them. Work with one of my coaches if you need extra support. The link is in the description. Number 2 is increasing quality time. How much quality time did you have with your partner over the last 7 days? Most couples that I see in my practice, when I ask them this question, it's about 30 minutes. And then they wonder why the fire has gone out. They wonder why there's no electricity. They wonder why they need to work on reigniting their marriage. One of the top reasons is because they're not spending quality time together. How much quality time do you spend with your partner? Is it 30 minutes? Is it 1 hour a week? Is it 2 hours a week? The more quality time you spend with your partner, the more in love you're going to feel. It's an essential ingredient to reigniting your marriage. So that could be daily talking time. That could be some dates. That could be some weekend getaways. If you have kids, maybe your family could watch your kids. Maybe some other friends of yours could watch your kids and you return the favor. Maybe you could hire out a babysitter. Maybe you can have some quality time when your kids go down. You have to be strategic. Stop being lazy. Stop being asleep in your relationship and then complaining that it's not going well. It's not going to happen. If you've fallen asleep in your marriage, if you're not tending to the fire, then no wonder it goes out. It's expected that it's going to go out. Don't be shocked that you lose your feelings for your partner if you're not doing anything to nurture the relationship, to stoke the fire. So that's an essential ingredient, is spending quality time with your partner. How well are you doing on that? How do you spend your time? Look at your phone. That will tell you a lot about how you spend your time. But you're not going to reignite your marriage without spending more quality time with your partner. Number 3, start touching. How often do you touch your partner? Non-sexually. It starts there. A lot of times couples fall out of the pattern of touching, and then you don't have any physical contact. Then you definitely are not having sexual contact. And that makes you feel divided. It makes you feel disconnected because you're not touching. When you touch one another, skin-on-skin contact releases the neurotransmitter oxytocin, and that's the bonding chemical. So if you're never touching your partner with affection, you're going to feel more disconnected. You're not going to have that flame. You're not going to have that fire. And if you want to reignite your marriage, you need to intentionally start touching each other again. How can you start touching each other? Think of small, simple ways. When you wake up, give each other a hug. When you leave, give each other a hug and a kiss. When you come back together at the end of the day, give each other a hug and a kiss. When you're driving in the car, touch your partner's leg. When you walk up to them in the kitchen or in the bedroom or in the living room, put your hand on their back. Small little touches build up and they help you feel connected. They help you feel closer and they will help the flame to come back. Number 4 is ask questions. How often do you study your partner? How often do you inquire about their life? How often do you ask them questions about what's most important to them? Do you even know what's most important to your partner? You probably don't. We get disconnected and we assume we know what's going on in our partner's lives, but we actually don't. We get outdated very fast. And so if you want to reignite your marriage, start asking questions to get to know your partner again. And they need to ask you questions. So some sample questions may be, what's been on your head and heart today? Or what are the main stressors you're going through? Or what are you most looking forward to in our future? Or what are you most worried about? Or what's keeping you up at night? Or what do you think we need to work on the most in our marriage? There's so many types of questions you can ask your partner. And questions are a wonderful way to get to know each other again. They're a wonderful way to start reconnecting, to start feeling close, and that's going to bring back the fire. Number 5 is develop a hobby together. There's a pattern in marriage where the longer couples are together, the more they do things separately. Have you noticed that? Have you and your partner slowly started drifting away from each other through the years? You started off when you were dating and you had all these things in common and you did all these fun things together, but the longer you've been together, you've gone your separate ways. Have you noticed that? It's a really common trend in marriages over time. I see it all the time in couples that I work with. And so it's okay to have some individual hobbies as long as the majority of your hobbies are things you and your partner enjoy together. Do you have 4 to 6 hobbies that you and your partner both enjoy? If you answered yes, congratulations, you are the minority. Most couples do not have almost any hobbies that they both enjoy. And so this is something my wife and I have had to work on. We slowly started developing independent hobbies. Then we realized we need to start being more intentional. We need to start being more mindful of hobbies we both enjoy. And so we've really stepped that up over the years, and we've developed several hobbies that we both enjoy doing. We like to play tennis, we like to go on bike rides, we like to hike, and we like to garden together. And this is a big one for me because I've always been passionate about gardening. Then a couple years ago, we moved into our current house that needed a ton of yard work. It needs so much yard work that still, even today, I walk outside, I get overwhelmed, and I walk back inside. But something has happened with my wife. Since we moved into this house, one of the reasons she wanted to buy this house is because she fell in love with the yard, the tranquility of the yard. We have a lot of really big, mature trees in our yard, and that's hard to come by in Colorado. And so she fell in love with this yard, and that ignited a passion in her to want to do yard work, to want to garden, to want to work in the yard. And so it's been one of the most special things we've been nurturing together over the last 2 years since we've lived in this new house. We've been starting to do gardening together. And I can't tell you how wonderful it is to be outside, working in the sun, working in the dirt, shoulder to shoulder with my wife. I'll be pulling out the weeds. I look over and she's trimming the shrubs. I'll be watering the garden. I look over and she's cutting the grass. We take turns and we work together. We split it up, but it's so nice to look over and see her there because I feel like we're doing it together. We're taking care of our property. We're chipping in as a team, and it fosters this sense of we-ness. Do you have that? Do you have a sense of we-ness with your partner? Do you have any hobbies that you do with your partner that you both enjoy, that brings a sense of meaning to you? It makes a big difference. Number 6 is laugh together. How often do you and your partner laugh? Probably not very often. Life gets serious. Life gets stressful. Life gets heavy. And so before long, we can't find anything to laugh about. But the more you laugh with someone, the more bonded you feel with that person. Think about someone you laughed really hard with recently or in the last year. Most likely, that helped you feel close to that person. And that's what it does. Laughter is the shortest distance between two hearts. So the more you laugh with your partner, the better. So you may have to be intentional on this. Maybe you need to intentionally start watching some comedies, or maybe you need to intentionally start reading some jokes together, or maybe intentionally you need to start reminiscing on funny things that have happened in your life together. Humor is bonding. And so if you're trying to reignite your marriage, you're trying to bring back that love, try to lighten up, try to laugh more, try to find the humor in things. Every day, try to look for what was one thing that was funny today? What's one thing that cracked me up today? And then share that with your partner. Number 7 is remember the early years. What was it that made you fall in love with your partner? Think back to that time. Maybe it was 2 years ago, maybe it was 20 years ago, maybe it was 40 years ago. However long ago it was, intentionally reflect on the early years, because those early years are monumental. They're special. They're sacred. Think about what you and your partner used to do. Think about the memories. Think about falling in love. Think about the first time you kissed. Think about all those special memories with your partner in the early years. The first time you said, I love you to them. When you can reminisce, and it's even better if you can look at pictures or videos from those early years, that's a wonderful way to reignite your marriage. It's going to remind you why you fell in love. It's going to remind you why you picked your partner. It's going to remind you how special your connection used to be. And that in and of itself was going to motivate you to start working on the marriage again, to start cultivating that closeness again. So those are 7 ways to reignite your marriage. Number 1, clear resentments. Number 2, increase your quality time. Number 3, start touching. Number 4, ask questions. Number 5, develop a hobby together. Number 6, laugh together. And number 7, remember the early years. Thank you for listening to the Dr. Wyatt Show. For my free PDF to apply the episode today, be sure to go to drwyattfisher.com/pages/freebies. Remember, your marriage is alive. So if you nurture it and cultivate it, it will grow. But if you deprive it and neglect it, it will wilt and die. The choice is up to you. Take care.